All right, welcome back. Now, I need everybody to brace yourself. Brace yourself. This stream is disturbing. You see the thumbnail. The thumbnail is not a joke. This is as serious as it gets. I'm about to prove that there is a global war against the youth. I think after you see this, there will be no question about it. And by the way, happy 4th of July for those who celebrate or acknowledge it. Always look forward to holidays because that's the time people get together. But it's also a time where these worthless mutants wreak havoc on our communities. Dogs should be exterminated, and we should have no mercy. When I say we, I'm talking about our government. There should be something done legally. It should be sanctioned. I believe the federal government should make this mandatory. Start with the most dangerous and work your way down from there. It took me a while to gather myself after I read this article. In fact, I had to read it twice just to make sure that I read what I read. Some of you know how in other countries outside of the United States, things are not as well put together. You know, when other countries try to copy something that originated here, it's never as thorough as the original. Same is the case if something originated over there in those countries. When you find something that originates in some other part of the world, if we as Americans try to duplicate it, it's going to be a watered down, second-hand version. It's not going to have the authenticity of the original. So, in this case, you have dog culture rhetoric, dog culture way of doing things. You have a dog culture way of doing things. There's a certain way that Americans move when it comes to how they deal with dogs, how they deal with investigations, and everything else that you can think of. When other countries try to copy it, it's not the same. And it's clear, it's obvious to the human eye. You spot it out immediately, like, this is not quite how it's done, but I see what you got going on there. This is the perfect example of that. Now let's get into it again. Brace yourselves. This is very disturbing. I've been dealing with a lot of disturbing stories and reports here, and it's not getting any better. Anybody who needs a break from this type of content, trust me, I understand. Definitely understand. This took place in Brazil. And I am calling out the authorities down there in Brazil. This is demonic. It's straight up evil. You all have been busted. Red-handed. You've all been busted. A 4-year-old boy was mauled to death by the landlord's dog after the mother left the kids alone with the pit bull. 4-year-old Enzo Gabriel Silva Custodio died at his rented family's home. And how do you pronounce this, people? Is this Itumbiara, Brazil? This week, after he and his siblings were left alone with the pit bull. This surfaced just a few hours ago on the 4th of July. Just like the thumbnail says, the authorities lied on a 4-year-old. To me, 4-year-olds are still babies. Still a baby. But they're referring to him as a young boy. Okay? Was mauled to death. Look at this. Straight out the gate, people. The very first sentence. Look at this. A young boy was mauled to death while trying to pet his landlord's pit bull after the beast was left alone with him and his 2 siblings. How do you know that he was trying to pet this dog if you were not there? In fact, how dare you? You got some nerve even saying that. But let's continue. He died on the spot from his injuries after being attacked by this mutant. 25-year-old mother had left the youngster at their rented home with her 2 other children, aged 9 and 7. So you have ages 4, 7, and 9 left alone at this residence as she went to work, claiming she had nowhere else to leave them. She had agreed, look at this, this is ridiculous. She had agreed to let the landlord's dog stay in her unit, and she left the dog in there alone with the youngsters. What? Look at how it says, having believed at the time that the dog was tame. What? It's bad enough you're leaving 3 youngsters of that age, those ages, alone. That's bad enough. You telling me on top of that, you slid a pit bull in there with them? Okay, let's continue. And this is the actual dog, right? This is the actual dog. Look at this. Investigators believe Enzo approached the dog while it was eating, and that the dog, feeling threatened, launched an attack at the baby. Stop. Let's stop right there. What? What? Investigators assume that the 4-year-old approached the dog while it was eating. And that the dog, look at how they made sure, feeling threatened, launched an attack. They say this with no proof, no evidence, no nothing. They simply copied the blueprint laid out here in the United States. That when a dog attacks a youngster, blame the youngster. Even if you were not there, even if you did not see it. The rule is to assume. Assume it anyways. It doesn't matter that you were not there. Whenever a dog attacks a youngster, the youngster did something. No question about it. The youngster did something to provoke the dog. We all know that has been the narrative here in the United States. I have even stood on this several times before where I said that this is all that they're doing. They're just trying to blame the victim. And this only happens with youngsters. This is why I titled the stream the way that I did. People who are adults speak for themselves. And they will straight up tell you, I didn't do nothing. As soon as, for example, if this 4-year-old were an adult, you would be able to say, as soon as the adult left, the dog attacked me. And nobody would question it. We don't question postal workers. We don't question any adults when they give us a scenario of a dog attack. And we believe them. But when they're young, we always assume that they did something to provoke the dog, and the dog rightfully, this is their way of justifying the attack, mind you. The dog did what it knew, did the only thing it could do. It felt threatened and launched it. They make this sound like a self-defense thing. Like, hey, the dog had no choice but to defend himself because he thought he was under attack. First of all, they assumed that the dog was eating. And then make another assumption that the boy went up to the worthless mutt while it was eating. And then make another assumption that it then felt threatened. You can't make this up. I'm not stretching the truth. Look at this. His mother found him with severe injuries when she came back home. Listen to that. Nobody knew what happened. She simply came home and found him. And these pathetic investigators go on to assume and make this a part of their record. This is the results of their investigation. The boy walked up to the dog while it was eating, and the dog felt threatened. Wow. Boy, there is a special place for people like this. Y'all are sick. Y'all are evil and sick to the core. This is actually hard to believe that this has been made a culture around the world. Understand that, people. This is a culture among the authorities to always blame the young victims. I mean, who would have thought? Just like there's, a culture in every other establishment. Like there's a police culture, there's a firefighter culture. You understand? There's a politician culture. The culture of the authorities, the investigators, the police department, law enforcement, the judicial system, the culture is to always blame the youngster. They did something to provoke it, which is another way of saying they deserved it. It's their fault. They brought it onto themselves. The mother was released following a custody hearing and is now awaiting trial. Her other two children have been temporarily sent to stay with relatives. Ms. Silva's lawyer argued during the custody hearing that she was as much of a victim of the tragedy and endured the harshest punishment of all. Silva, we're now talking about the mother. Okay, and Walter Nito is the lawyer. Nito said during the custody hearing, it's clear that Sabrina is a victim of the tragedy herself, enduring the harshest punishment of all, the loss of a child. Let's stop again. No, she's not. She's the one who should be arrested and thrown in jail. What are you talking about? This was the lady who not only left them all alone, but also allowed a pit bull in there. And you telling me she's just as much of a victim as the actual victim? And you're also saying that she endured the harshest punishment of all? So her punishment was worse than the victim's? Slap yourselves. Do it now. Do it again. We believe in justice, it continues, and are confident that the right outcome will prevail. Pitbull was seized by authorities and placed in an animal center where it's currently under observation. Observation? Y'all sitting around looking at it? Why don't you euthanize it? How about that? Smoke it. Roast it. What are y'all waiting for? Y'all sick. What are y'all sitting around admiring this beast or something? What is there to look at? What is there to see? This thing should no longer be breathing. But this is a part of the ritual, the global ritual, to keep the deity, which is also the Iller, alive and actually continue to praise and reward it, because I guarantee you that they have been feeding this dog. Just picture this in your head. This mutant attacks, fatally attacks a 4-year-old. The adults confiscate the dog and start feeding it. Picture that in your head. That is literally what goes on. Dog culture is sick. It's one of the most evil dynamics you'll ever come across. And dog lovers seem oblivious to how sick this culture is. Everybody seems oblivious. Young boy's shock death comes just over a month after a pregnant woman was caught on CCTV trying to protect her golden retriever from a pit bull attack. Ridiculous. Some investigator. Is this how investigators do? Is this what they do when they have no evidence? They just assume that a harmless 4-year-old did something to provoke a beast that was bred to kill? And also, in this scenario, you can see that brainless dog shelter culture, right? Where you get a fully grown dog from somewhere and leave it alone with children. That is right out of the dodo, nutter, brainless, goofy, nutter playbook. These nutters are completely brainless today. They don't even make sure that the dog was raised from a puppy around the youngsters before bringing them around the youngsters. Not even before leaving these things alone with the youngsters. Not saying that that would make it any safer. Not saying that that is safe, but they don't even do that. They don't take any. There's no sign that they were cautious at all. Just completely reckless. And why is the landlord's dog? This is the landlord's dog. So what y'all saw in this example is what I've been saying for years. What we've been saying for years. They look at dogs as kids. You couldn't be more stupid. All this rhetoric about how mentally dogs are the same as 2-year-olds, that has brainwashed. These people are acting on that information. The judicial system, the authorities, and the general population of nutters, they are acting on that. And that is what the propaganda was intended to do. That is why it was put out there. They wanted people to acquire these killers and immediately bring them around their young and leave them with their young. Trust them. Treat them as if they're harmless and as if they are 2-year-old children. Boy, you could not be more out of your flippin' mind, nutter. Unreal. This is unreal. Let me show y'all something. Let me show y'all something that surfaced maybe a day or so ago. How many of y'all seen this? And shame on India. Shame on India. I don't care how many stray dogs they have over there. The general population's acceptance of dogs is disgusting over there. It is so subhuman. Look at this. That dog went right up and started to bite that 4-year-old. And look at how this guy just kicked the dog away. This is what really happens, as we all know. They don't do anything to provoke these dogs at all. This mutt came from way back here. Look at that. Way back here. Went right up to the smallest target. Walked right past an adult. Because again, they prefer to attack the youngest targets, the smallest targets. That's why they've made it a culture and a rule to assume that the youngsters provoke the things. Because it's actually the other way around. Now y'all might hear some fireworks. You might hear some fireworks. So excuse me. Bear with me here. We all know that this is actually what happens. And these investigators or whoever are committing crimes and should be locked up as well. Y'all need to be arrested as well. There's another video that surfaced a day or so ago, again out of India. And once again, you have an unprovoked attack, this time on an 8-year-old. And this time, a pack of vermin. These bloodthirsty, deranged. These things are deranged. They're abnormally aggressive. Their aggression is not normal. Yet the world dog culture tries to project it as normal. And they try to project kids' behavior as abnormal, with this assumption that they go up to these beasts and try to pet them. Sick. Boy, y'all are sick. Nothing will ever change my mind about dog culture. Y'all very dangerous group of people. And you specialize in getting the youngest demographic torn apart, ripped apart, mutilated, maimed. That's y'all's specialty. Hope you're proud of yourselves. Right? Because that's what y'all do. And all of you whose dog hasn't done anything like this yet, in the back of your head, you got your fingers crossed and you can't wait for it. You may as well be, because you ain't doing nothing to try to prevent something like this from happening. You're not about to get rid of that walking parasite. So you may as well be a sick individual looking forward to your mutt catching a hat. There was a dog attack near Colorado Springs where a man was shot. This is why I say that I don't want to have to use my firearm. I don't want to have to use my firearm on one of these dogs. I don't. I only will if I'm forced.
For a new angle on residential and commercial roofing.
Lord, these ads. Anyway, this guy was being attacked, right, by his dog, if I'm not mistaken, and shot it. Here, listen to this.
and a man is facing charges after a shooting in Colorado Springs that left a dog dead and a man in the hospital. It happened yesterday afternoon at the Old Travel Star Inn on North Nevada. Police say two dogs started fighting, and while they were there, their owners were trying to separate them, and they say one of those owners fired a shot. The bullet hit one of the dogs and then hit one of the owners in the leg.
There you go. Yeah, I don't want that to happen. I don't want to shoot this mutt, bullet ricochet and hit me or hit somebody else. You know, I'm prepared when I go out to use my BB gun first. And if I'm in a situation, I'm going to try to use the BB gun first. Only if it doesn't work will I pull out the real pole and dispense of that mutant. But you see, the most attacked demographic don't have that option. The most attacked demographic is actually helpless against a dog attack. Helpless. Completely incapable of fending off or fighting off the dog attack. And they're still, I mean, you really can't make this up. What are we going to do with these people? How can I look at dog lovers in the real world in a positive way? How can you? You know, I see a lot of new faces on the channel. Y'all better brace yourselves, man. This content will change you if you're following this. Or if you even follow it on your own. It will change you. You might be a dog lover and you may never get rid of your dog. But that'll only reflect badly on you. Dog lovers who keep up with the news, who keep up with this, and you continue to be a dog owner, that's crazy to me. That means you're aware of the threat and you're still down with it. What are we going to do with these people? They're most definitely a protected class. Dogs are a protected class of killers. And they prefer to kill the youngest demographic. And you mean tell me we project these things as angels on earth? Yeah, I'm not going to be a part of that. That reflects badly on you. To be a dog lover is to be a horrible, classless person with no integrity, no character, no intelligence. Flat out. When you know the facts, even if you don't know the facts, how could you not? And you see how horrible dog culture is? This is a big reason why they're trying so hard to groom the population to be dog lovers at a very young age. This is why they're hauling dogs into these elementary schools and into these preschools. They understand these mutant beasts are so despicable that the general population has to be thoroughly brainwashed in order to keep these things to make their billions and trillions of dollars. And it's a shame because they generate so much money with dogs, they'll never give them up. I don't see why it's so difficult. You can just, transition to a different pet. If dogs were to disappear today, these former dog lovers would still want something to boss around. They would still want some type of pet. So it's like they're going to be forced to invest in some other pet. So you, the dog industry, the CEOs or whatnot, invest in those other pets for the safety of the country. The general population is obviously not intelligent enough themselves. It's crazy, right? It's like the general population is a bunch of kids. Don't know how to think for themselves. Yeah, I mean, look at you. You don't even know how to create a safe home for your family to be raised in. That sounds like a primitive group of people. Then you got laws in place to protect these mutant killers. Shame on you. And it's so backwards, isn't it? Dogs exist in our communities like parasites. They occupy the exact same role of parasites. The exact same role. Yet when those birds discover that this is a parasite, they get rid of it. What do humans do? Promote it. Pass laws to protect the parasite. Protect the invader. You're backwards. You should be ashamed. They said, all of you dog lovers should be ashamed of yourselves. Ain't nothing to be proud of. Shout out to all of you able to join me for this live stream. And I hope you can join me on the next as we continue with this crusade.